welcome back to another YouTube video. And today let's get to know more what's inside the Vietnam War Remnants Museum. And the ticket price is only for 40,000 Vietnam dong, and that's $1.50 almost. This War Remnant Museum in Ho Chi Minh City is one of the most significant historical sites in Vietnam. Showing the heroic past of the nation, there are 8 regular exhibitions in 3 areas displaying documents, images, and artifacts about the war crimes and consequences. And now let's about to mark and enter what's inside the War Remnants Museum of Vietnam. And after the liberation of the South, this place became the exhibition house about war crimes and officially opened for visitors from September 4, 1975. And since then, the museum is not only a place to visit and learn, but also to organize major cultural events. And this museum specializes in research, collection, storage, preservation, and display, as well as education and vulgarity. And the content of attention here is the documents, images, films, and artifacts that show what the invaders have caused to Vietnam and the will to regain national independence of the people. So picking up the museum to visit, you will get to understand more about Vietnam's history. And located on second floor of the museum is the War Crime Zone. And in this zone, about hundreds of photographs, documents, and artifacts introducing the evidence of crimes and consequences of the war in Vietnam. These are displayed at this zone of the museum. Photographs of the real people involved in the massacres and even the victims of the massacres during the Vietnam War are being displayed here. And to be honest, for me, when I've entered and visited this museum, the way how I looked into Vietnam right now actually changed. You'll also get a chance to learn more about what really happened with the real photographs being taken during the Vietnam War. And these articles and real stories that I've read on the wall is truly heartbreaking. And I couldn't really imagine that these things really happened during the war. You can also see with your very own eyes the combat weapons that they've used during the war. And this war ended with about 3 million people dead and around 300,000 people went missing and heavy damages to the infrastructures and historical works of the country. And this is the most popular photo that even won a Pulitzer Prize, and it's called the Napalm Girl. And this became a symbol of the civilian casualties of the war. And another exhibition which is next to the War Crime Zone is the Agent Orange Zone. And this is the area that makes the most visitors cry. With 100 photos, documents, and artifacts on display, documenting the consequences of toxic chemicals used during the war. Agent Orange was a powerful herbicide used by the US military forces during the Vietnam War, and this is to eliminate forest cover and crops for North Vietnamese and the Viet Cong troops. And more than 20 million gallons of various herbicides over Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos from several years. And it was later proven to cause serious health issues, including cancer, birth defects, rashes, and severe psychological and neurological problems. And these are hundreds of photos of the victims. And we are heading to the third floor, and this is the Requiem, a photo collection of America's war of aggression in Vietnam. A collection of photos about the Vietnam War made by two British journalists with the help of the Vietnam News Agency is displayed at this zone of the War Remnants Museum. And the collection includes 275 photos of 134 reporters from 11 different countries who died while on duty in the Indochina battlefield. And you know what amazed me the most is that technically every photo taken on the battlefield was priceless because reporters had to give up their lives for each photo. And for me, these photos are a powerful message full of blood, tears, and anguish of war caused by cruel forces in Vietnam. And also right next to the Requiem is the historical Truth Zone, which also displays a lot of photos and documents that demonstrate the process of French colonialism and the American Army's invasion of Vietnam. And after the North gained independence and defeated the French, the US broke the Geneva Agreements and intervened with more than 6 million troops and over 14,300,000 tons of bombs and bullets, and that cost $767 billion spent. Right outside the museum is the imprisonment system during the Vietnam War. And this area of the museum also includes photos, tables, maps, artifacts introducing the system of over 200 prisons built by the US and the Saigon government to oppress the Vietnamese patriots. You will be introduced to some typical ones known as the Hells on Earth, such as the Con Dao prison or Phuc Quoc prison, and some extremely brutal methods and tools to torture prisoners. There are even more things to see inside the museum, but this itinerary can also cover maybe around 4 hours of your day itinerary. And if you're really into Vietnam history, I think this place is one of the best places to visit for you. And I thank you all for supporting my vlogs, and I hope to see you again in my next YouTube videos. Have a good one.